there's one thing I disagree with Charlie, and that is say there's no risk in this business, because they're not really going to talk about a product per se, right? So listen to Charlie say there's no risk. Actually, there is risk, because what you're going to invest in here and what I do understand about the business is the fact that you are going to contribute your blood, sweat, and tears. You know, that is the risk you're taking. And I acknowledge there are lots of competitive companies out there that you can join and you can do and whatever, right? And sometimes you hear the same story. But so, some of you may know I came from the world of Pharmanex. There was a company I started 25 years ago, was it? More than that actually, 1998. And essentially, when we started that company with Michael, and actually, no, I want to make sure because I heard Charlie stumble a little bit. I was from a drug company called Wyeth. Michael Chang came with a company called Merck. All right, some of you may have heard of those drug companies. So we were rivals, but at the end of the day, we went to scientific meetings together and so on and so forth, and we actually became friends. And finally, both of us decided that we need to come out and start a company. And that was the company called Pharmanex. Now, when you start a company, when out that after spending more than 20 odd years now here at New Skin, it's really not very different from all of you. Because we had to go out and raise money to start a company. Right? So when I go out and raise money, I have to be able to articulate or tell a story what we're trying to do. What's so special about Pharmanex, right? So why are you starting this company? Does it really have legs? In other words, can this company be sustained? Can it actually be a real company? Or is it just something that you want to start to sell one particular product and that's it? It's not an opportunity in your language. So that's what we did. We raised, as Charlie mentioned to you, more than $38 billion by telling the story behind Pharmanex. But what is that story? I'll tell you in a minute. So here again, I'm standing here talking to you, and again, we have developed something here. You know, you've heard a lot about Prysm.io and so on. But I look upon that I'm asking you to invest. Because New Skin is a company by you, for you, with you. It's not going to work if you guys are not willing to invest your blood, sweat, and tears into telling this story to the world. So I'm once again back in the day of starting a new company. Except I'm starting this new company with you. Except I won't call it starting a new company, I'm saying I'm starting a new opportunity for all of you. That's fundamentally what Prysm is all about, right? And it won't work. Frankly, it doesn't matter how good it is, it will not work if you are not willing to invest your time and build it. And there are rewards, obviously. I mean, Charlie has shown you the rewards and so on and so forth. That's almost a given to me. But the first step you have to take is whether you're going to take action or not. I think that's the language that's always used in our world of New Skin, right? So let me go through why I think this is pretty exciting. So, all right. I was watching a TV show actually last night. It's called House of David. I think it sort of reminded me. Every one of you know who David is, right? He's the king of Israel, and he was the most famous king. He actually created Israel and so on. And the reason why he's so famous and became the king was because he killed a giant called Goliath. And how did he do that? He did it with a slingshot. Because he doesn't know how to throw a spear, he doesn't know how to shoot an arrow, and he was a rather small individual, but he managed to bring Goliath down with a slingshot. And you read the Old Testament, The way that he described it was that David had 5 smooth stones. And that's what Nu Skin has always been. That we have created, over the last 40 years or so, 5 smooth stones. I'm going to tell you about the 6th smooth stone in a minute. But right now, what are these 5 smooth stones that have resulted in an opportunity for all of you? I see Margaret and Pat sitting there. They probably used the first smooth stone in Nu Skin to build that business. And here is what it is. The first smooth stone that we had was fundamentally everything that we talk about in Nu Skin back 40 years ago. It's about all of the good, none of the bad. Doesn't matter what it is, right? Whether our charitable component, whether our product component, and so on, it fundamentally came down to this. Anything that we did at that point in time was about focusing on all of the good, none of the bad. That was your opportunity platform. That was the differentiation in Nu Skin. And it took off. Right? And then a few years later, that's how Pharmanex came in. And that was the second smooth stone. And that is, we have now have enough science, and that's why Nu Skin bought Pharmanex. Not because of one single product, and we had one single product that was really good. That was an initial idea that it came in, a product called Colestin, developed from a natural product called red yeast rice. It was very effective, and that attracted a lot of attention, including Nu Skin. But when it came in and listened to what we were actually doing and how we developed that particular product, it became clear that what we have created in Pharmanex is not just one product, but actually a platform, or what we call an R&D engine that has so much potential. And Charlie alluded to that afterwards when we talk about Prysm. But that's what Nu Skin bought. That now we are able, going forward, to develop a whole range of products that are science-based. See the potential? So if I'm sitting there as an investor, that was a story I told the investor, and they saw it. And they saw the ability that this thing can grow. It is actually can become the seed for a company. It's not about Colestin. It's not about T-Green. It's not about BioGinkgo and all these other products we developed. It was about that enabling technology that's going to drive this company. That was the second smooth stone, right? And then quickly enough, we came up with the biophotonic scanner. Yes, we measure those antioxidants and so on, and carotenoids and so on. But what was it all about? It was really about having the first opportunity to be able to answer the question, how do you know your supplements work? That was the problem. The skin products never had that problem. You put your half-face demo and you show it, right? No problem. Zoom, you can see it. But with the supplements, you don't have that opportunity. So you have to see another way. But I can't take your blood, because for our business, in the world of Nu Skin, for many of you, you're non-medical professionals and so on and so forth, you're not able to take blood and give it to a lab and then wait for the results. The differentiation, the compelling differentiation point feature of the biophotonic scanner was you're able to get your result almost instantaneously in real time. And what is your business all about? It's really talking to people. And what is it all about? You need to have that person talk to you in real time and not say, oh, okay, I got this device, I take your blood, or whatever it is, but you had to wait for 2 weeks. Human nature would suggest 2 weeks is a lifetime. It's almost impossible to get that person back again to listen to your story. That's why the scanner as a platform was able to take off, not just answering the question, how do you know your supplements work, but actually, how do you know your supplements work quickly? Yourself, you can see. You see, what the science has taught us and why we've felt so excited at that point in time is that all of us have always been gauged and read by numbers ever since we were born. The first time you came out from your mom, the doctor will take you up by your legs and smack your bottom. What is he trying to do? He's trying to get your APGAR score. And I'm sure all the mothers know what an APGAR score is, right? That actually APGAR score is what the obstetrician is able to gauge how healthy that baby is. Does it need more nurturing in an incubator or whatever, you know? So you will look for all the so-called vital signs of a newborn baby. You are judged by a number. It's usually 1 to 10, the scale. And then after that, you go to school. What happens there? You're gauged again, you're judged again by numbers, by your grades, right? I used to go back and tell my mom, when the mom asked, how well did you do in school? I said, well, it's great. I passed everything, and everything's great. The teacher has no complaints. Usually the mom doesn't believe you. Usually they show me your report card. You're judged by those objective numbers. It's not by faith, you know. Your mom is not going to take your word for it. Your mom knows you way better than that. Right? You're going to sneak around. So you're judged by numbers. That's what the scanner is. It builds on our way of thinking. You gauge yourself through numbers. That's why it was such a potent and powerful instrument. To answer the question, how do you know? That was the third smooth stuff. And then, our science in New Skin, we built another platform. There was another opportunity, and this time answering the question, what are the sources of aging? By now you should know, right? In New Skin, we are an anti-aging company, if you will, both on the skin side and on the nutrition side. But I'll leave it a hint for you because that's another one for another discussion. Really, we're not so much in terms of anti-aging. Our science tells us we're more into youth preservation. If you talk to a young person, I'll use the dividing line about 30 years old. You talk anti-aging, most likely you will not get a lot of interest. Because at that point in time, at that age, you're probably thinking you're going to live forever. And you don't have to have any products that can help you. You don't have to worry. You're never going to die. You're never going to get old. You're never going to get wrinkles. You know, it's okay, yeah. So by youth preservation, just a turn of the phrase, at least in English anyway, right? If you just turn it around, you're going to appeal to everybody. Because who doesn't want to preserve your youth?
Right.
See the subtlety on that? That's another one. That's just an aside. But nonetheless, we identify sources of aging. There's another platform. It was ageLOC is not again about developing one particular product. It's about developing even more meaningful products. And we are now able with ageLOC to be able to use the same platform to apply to skincare products and also to nutrition products. That has driven the New Skin opportunity for more than 10 years. Another smooth stone that many of our leaders were able to sort of resonate with and move along. And finally, the beauty devices, right? On the skincare side, I mean, we're beginning to understand, you know, devices can do a lot. Not just consumables, not just topicals, and so on, but devices can do galvanic spa, Lumi spa, and so on. That was the device platform. And amazingly enough, even from that platform, we begin to learn the skin is a part of the body And when you manipulate the skin, or you bring benefits to the skin, it actually brings benefits to the rest of the body. So it has what we call systemic effects, throughout the body. And we had another product that came out called the Renew Spa over here, where it delivers the skin benefits as well as body benefits. So that's what the beauty device is. So these are the 5 smooth stones. Right? The narrative, the story is never about a single product. Right? Every time, sometimes I feel, every time we launch a new product, many of you get distracted and think it is another story, a different story, and you have to focus on it. And the previous stories that you tell are not really relevant anymore. Well, they are. They're all connected, right? It really doesn't matter which product you can go after. So now we are into the world of Prysm. And what you heard, you heard Bob here, that's incredibly compelling from his perspective. And I hear Charlie saying the same thing. But when you sit down and you think, what are they trying to tell you? Right? What is so exciting? What is it? When I look at it and I summarize and distill what they say, what we have developed in Prysm.io is really the ability to biohack your body. That's what we've developed. All right? You may not know what that term is. Some of you may not. Some of you may. But go look at it. What biohack means. Essentially, it's the ability to look into your body and to be able to define where we need to go to help your body get healthy. Okay. We have taken, with the biophotonic scanner, from the stage of just looking at antioxidant, because we sometimes call it the antioxidant score. It still is that, but we have taken it to a next level, to a much higher level of meaning. That's what we have created. And that's what the 20 years that we have, or we have used, or the scanner for the last 20 years, that has given us an incredible amount of knowledge how we can do that translation. So I'll give you another story. And this is why it's so powerful. Another analogy, if you will. When we look at antioxidants, right? Frankly, oh gosh, when I first talk about antioxidants and so on, when I go into an elevator and I say, gee, a stranger there, I say, would you want to learn about how you can measure your antioxidant score? It's difficult. Frankly, for many people. Because the first question, why do I care about my antioxidant score? What does it really mean? Mm-hmm. I have to spend the next 5 minutes. By the time the elevator opens, I don't have that time anymore. I will say, oh, well, antioxidant does this, antioxidant does that, it protects that, you got to do free radicals, and therefore your body is not damaged. My goodness, that is, even my wife has no patience to listen to this. However, with contrast, this Prysm, we are asking, or we are making sure that you are asking, helping people understand, do you really know what your nutritional health is? Charlie alluded to that. Mm. That appeals to everybody. Yep. Right? I would imagine, unless you think, when you get to the elevator, in 10 seconds with that question, you'll be able to attract that person's attention. And then you can go on and explain other things if they really wish to understand. But fundamentally, it comes out of that. You can see. So, the Prysm is now the most powerful, non-invasive biohacking machine. That's really what we're bringing out on this one. All right, with the Prysm. So we're transforming, you've seen all this, Charlie showed you this and all that, but when you look at this, 1, 2, 3, we have developed over the last 20 years or so. What have we done? We have made that scanner incrementally better, more reproducible, okay, easier to use, right? No need so much calibration, and so on. That's what we have done. And we spent $100 million doing that. But we haven't changed the real meaning of what it actually measured. It gave us a lot of data. It gave us more than 25 million scans over the last 20 years. And that is what has created for us, and that has what changed. That is the piece that we don't focus on, but that is the piece. That is what I'm telling the investors. Look, I'm not making a new biophotonic scanner because the reaction would be, yeah, you've been there, you've done that. So what? It looks prettier, it looks smaller, okay. But have you really changed anything? No. In the real meaning of the word, right? In terms of a real new opportunity. See how the difference is? Antioxidant to nutritional health? It's a big leap forward. That's the difference, right? And that's a hand. It's not just because of the small pot. It's not just because it's you can put it onto a docking station. Those things are great, but remember, they are means to an end. For me as an investor, I said, yeah, you make a better, pretty well. But tell me, what is the breakthrough you're trying to achieve? Okay? So, that's the difference. I'm hoping you can appreciate, because that's what we're bringing out of Prysm for. And it's because now measuring carotenoids is actually a biomarker for nutritional health. Right. That's what the science is. See how it goes back to even to the days of Pharmanex? Is science back? I can say this with no evidence, and many companies do that. Right? And you have to take it like a religion. You have to believe it as just a belief system. But in New Skin, perhaps our approach is different. I need to have scientific evidence to say that. And that's where we go. And that's how that Pharmanex and R&D engine is still part and parcel of this drive into the Prysm as well, right? And with nutritional health, on the business side, or at least on the storytelling side about New Skin, it's not as distracting as before. Each new product that we have to bring out is not a siloed product. It can be inclusive. The this new Prysm scanner is really a tip of the spear. It opens up that opportunity. And then you can go with whichever product that you like to go with, because they all fit strategically into the narrative. Right? So, and we obviously, sometimes I feel, okay, I identify a problem, so what? If I don't have a solution, that's why you have the consumables that we have. Right? So, we identify a problem. It's a very meaningful problem. It's about nutritional health, and we can provide the solution from all the products, depending on which component of the nutritional health you want to go after. No problem there. Okay? You notice there's some skincare products there too. That's a little teaser to say 12 months from now, or thereabouts, and so on, there's another capability of the Prysm IO that we can use to focus on skin health. Why am I telling you that? I'm telling you that you are my investors, because I know you're going to ask me, what is the potential of this technology that you have developed that you want to start a new company with? Is it really just a one-trick pony and that's all you can do? No. This new technology that we have actually has many, many future potential users. We are just bringing you in at this early stage. At this early stage, Charlie will bug me at this early stage. But that's the most exciting thing to get in at this point in time, especially with you guys here. I've never given this sort of discussion to a much bigger group yet. I think very soon we'll probably have to talk about this, but you'll be hearing the first time what my thoughts are and why we're excited. So these are the products, right? So here is the technology. I can go and talk the next hour about the technology, but I want you to understand, because this is really the heart of the Prysm IO. The left is as important as the right. And the left is what I have mentioned to you. That's the 25 years worth of knowledge that we have gotten from the biophotonic scanner, the current one. Nobody has that knowledge base. So everybody get excited, right? And if I come up and say, oh, we use artificial intelligence to do something or whatever, and you guys get all excited because everybody understands what artificial intelligence is. Are you sure?
Woohoo!
Have you ever sat down and asked yourself, what the hell is he talking about in terms of artificial intelligence? Artificial intelligence can never happen if you don't have data.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
Even you or me, my brain, if I don't put data into my brain, I cannot get clever. I cannot get smarter. I'll bring you back to when you were born. You had a brain then. How come you're not clever then? Why do your mom have to go and take you everywhere until you go to school and then you get trained more, right? What are you actually happening when you start to think about it? You're putting data into your brain. That's how you became smarter. Same with the computer or same with whatever on the technology side. I have to feed data or else artificial intelligence doesn't work. And that's why this is a difficult technology. They might be able to duplicate the right side, but this one, because of the time and the effort needed to generate and create that, it's more difficult. This database that we have, our 25 million scans. And why is it so useful, that data? Because we have taken the scan score and we also had taken information about that person's lifestyle, weight, vital signs and so on and so forth. And we have been able to correlate what is happening. In other words, learning why that score is high and why that score is low. That's how we translated this particular antioxidant score into a nutritional health score. Nobody can do that. They don't have the data. Okay? So, if you want to look for something and the essence of a company, how do you differentiate it? What's your competitive advantage, all these business terms? That's what we're producing in Prysm IO. So that's really, the heart of it. And that's how we feed that engine to come up with a number that means more than just antioxidant. And that's what it looks like. And importantly, I don't know whether you can see it, it's very blurred, but nonetheless, it comes with a docking station as well. So when you carry your the Prysm IO around and you measure people and you come back to the office or go to home or whatever, you can essentially dock it and all kinds of data you can will come up on this iPad or the iPhone to help you analyze what you have done even better, right? I think it's going to incorporate some of the business analytics as well. So it's going to be very useful for you in that sense. So whatever it is, this is the Prysm, and when I mention biohacking, right, what are we actually seeing? We have to see something inside the body clearly so that we can biohack. Your doctor, when you go and visit your doctor, what does he do? He is actually biohacking you because he takes your blood, sends it to the lab, and he comes out with 20 whatever tests, blood tests, that he has requested, and he finds all kinds of numbers. Right? That's how we judge how healthy you are. He's biohacking you. He's going to tell you whether, I'll use glucose, Bob did that, whether you are pre-diabetic, diabetic, and so on and so forth. He cannot tell that just by looking at you. He has to biohack. Right? So in that sense, for us as a nutrition company, we are biohacking on the nutrition side. And here is why it's just as important. The doctor can tell you what sort of disease you have. I'm less interested in that because that's in the drug world. I came from the drug world as well. The drugs will treat those diseases very well. No problem. But it will never be able to heal your body. The only way you can heal your body is through nutrition and through nutrition supplementation, right? Because if you don't heal your body, you will never, ever recover from your disease. You can cure your disease, but you can never. Right? That's the difference. Weight management, I'll use weight loss another one. You can lose weight. And the problem right now in the US, in fact all around the world, is not because you're not eating. Famine generally has disappeared from the world, except for certain parts of the world, right? But generally, we don't suffer from not enough food to eat. We are actually overfed. But what we are suffering from is undernourishment. That's the difference, right? It's similarly here. For us, if we biohack the body, we can actually be able to find out what your nutritional status or health is. This is the first time ever with a non-invasive way of doing it, right? It's very similar. I'll use a Hubble telescope. Everybody knows what a Hubble telescope is? It's that big thing floating in the sky, still floating there. The difference is, when you have an earth-bound telescope, you can only see so much. Why? It doesn't matter how powerful your telescope is. You go to Arizona, I think that's where it is, right? The Paloma telescope. They build this big building on top of a mountain and they shoot this huge telescope into the sky to take pictures. It will only take pictures up to a certain limit because of the pollution in the atmosphere. It doesn't matter how powerful your telescope, it cannot penetrate the atmosphere of pollution. That's the reason why they send the Hubble telescope into space, because it gets above the pollution, and then you're able to take that picture. That picture on the left, you can't take with any telescope on Earth. That's what the Prysm does. It peers into the body to see much more clearly than anything that we had before. That's the breakthrough, right? And then I'm just showing you one galaxy, but in the future, it's just a tip of the iceberg. We can see clearly what other things in the body that affects skin health. And we can also be that life DNA that Buck mentioned, that company or whatever that we're in collaboration with, we can also look all the way down into the genetic level. Not just me or not just our scientists, but you guys be able to do that. So that's where we are. And I'm hoping I'm giving you this background, right? Because this is really I'm asking you to invest your blood, sweat, and tears. Let me come back to my original request, right? Because all these exciting things, new skin can never do it. It will not be able. And what does it connect to? And what's the reality that we are at right now? We have to grow as a company on the business side. That's one of the realities that we have to acknowledge. And if you guys are not going to invest, we won't grow. Why do we keep on saying we are partners? Right? I mean, you say your wife is your partner. If she doesn't behave like a partner with you, are you ever going to have a family? Never. It's the same thing here, I think. You know, we cannot just blurt out a word and you guys don't act like partners. So that's my opinion and perspective on this.